Hi, Foxes. Okay, so one of the last standards that we need to cover in 5th grade is actually a listening standard. So can you listen to a person speak or an audio clip and comprehend what you've heard? So we are going to practice this skill this week and next week, and we'll see how much longer. It's been a while since you all have had to sit and listen and try to comprehend what people are saying live, like in real time. Videos are great because you can always pause and re-listen. These audio clips that you guys are going to be listening to, you can also pause and re-listen to them, but it's a great skill to practice. For this first one, and maybe the next few, you're going to have a transcript that you can follow along the audio clip with. A transcript is just like a typed out words of what you're hearing in the audio clip. So you can follow along using those transcripts as we do these first couple assignments. But in the future, eventually we're going to get to a point to where we don't need the transcripts anymore, and we can be listening and maybe using just an organizer and filling out important information that we're hearing while we're listening, so that we can then explain what we've heard or understand or comprehend what we've heard. So I'm going to do this first assignment with you, so that way you know what to expect and how I expect you all to complete these assignments. Okay, so for today, sorry, let me get my screen ready here. For today, we're going to listen to a news story from a national public radio, so it's a national public thing. They usually share news. So this is a news clip, basically, that you're going to hear about student volunteers helping the elderly in New York City, okay? So as we listen, we're gonna stop a few times and we are going to fill out our organizer as we go. Okay, here we go.
New York City's death toll from COVID-19 now exceeds 1,000.
The unfolding disaster has revealed a fact about the nation's largest city, a gigantic metropolis which can feel cold and ruthless, only functions because people work together. And in this crisis, some New Yorkers are asking a simple question to strangers. What can I do to help you? Simone Policano is asking that. The 25-year-old has built an army of young volunteers in just a few weeks.
It feels like we've accidentally created a community of young people who just really wanted to help right now.
Okay, so I already know from listening to the clip what who the who is. So I'm going to go to my organizer, and I've already typed them in here, so I'm just going to kind of reveal them to you. So my who, if you were listening, is, well, Simone Policano is the leader of this group, but her and other student volunteers created an organization called Invisible Hands. Okay, so that's what who is involved in this article that we're listening to. Let's go back.
Simone posted on Facebook asking how younger people in New York could deliver supplies to the elderly. She got in contact with 3 college students, and among them, they formed a network of volunteers called Invisible Hands.
Volunteers who shop for groceries and deliver them to the most vulnerable. Simone says they are left at the door to make sure that it's safe.
There's no direct contact between the volunteer and the recipient because obviously safety is our biggest concern and we want to mitigate risk as much as possible.
Okay, so I just got some more information. So student volunteers, Simone Policano, and then you just heard that the name of the organization is the Invisible Hands organization. Okay, so what are they doing? Usually the reason this box is bigger is because usually this is where most of your information about the article is going to go. Okay, so what they are doing here is they are shopping for groceries and supplies, and they're delivering them to the elderly citizens of New York City. Okay, and then she just mentioned how And how they do that is the students will shop and then they drop off the supplies at the door. So it's very important to them to maintain safety and health of these people that they're delivering to. So there's no physical contact. They just leave them at the door and then they go. All right, let's go back and listen some more.
% of our deliveries are able to happen in the same day, if not even within a few hours. And that's incredible. And I think they're just so ready and willing to help.
Liam Elkind is one of the other co-founders and points out that physical distancing doesn't mean there's no connection with the people they've been delivering to.
We are supposed to be socially isolating, but I think that we have been socially engaging while keeping our physical distance.
And for Liam,
Okay, so that's, I believe, also important to the how they are doing this. So no physical contact. She also mentioned that they are able to do this in the same day. So they are taking orders and they are delivering them within hours, she said, or at least within the same day. That's pretty cool. Let's go back.
the connections he's built are likely to last beyond the crisis.
A lot of people who I now feel intimate connections with across this city, I have not yet met in person, but they are now a deep part of my life.
Simone recalls a phone call that she had with someone who had received a delivery.
I was about to hang up, and she said, I just have to tell you, today is my birthday, and this is the best gift that anybody could have given me. And so she started crying, and I started crying, and it was a whole thing. And she said, I am, 60 years older than you are, and we are now connected.
Carol Sterling is one of the New Yorkers who's benefited from Invisible Hands. She's 83 and lives on the Upper West Side in Manhattan. She's been impressed by the volunteers who have been delivering her supplies.
That's a great sign that the young generation feels a responsibility to be activists and to build bridges to a generation that perhaps haven't had that much contact with.
All right, awesome. So let's go back to the organizer and see what else we need to fill in. Before we go to the organizer, I do know that one of the questions is when. So we can take a look. A lot of these current events will have a date at the top. So this is happening April 2020. So like right now, right? This is something, a news story from just last week. So let's go back. Okay, so when we can say April 2020, right? You can put the exact date if you'd like. And then also I mentioned that it was happening during the coronavirus pandemic. That's kind of when this story was taking place. Where, do you remember where? Yep, so this is a story from New York City. Okay, now down to the why. So it was mentioned a little earlier on in the story, but elderly people are more vulnerable to the coronavirus, meaning that not necessarily that they are more easily able to contract the virus, but it can have more detrimental effects on them than, say, a younger person, maybe a college student. So that was one of the reasons why. But also, another reason why, or the kind of other half to this, is that students were looking for ways to help their community. So because students were looking for ways to help their community, and they happen to know that elderly people, they're more vulnerable, they're staying home because they're trying to stay safe, and they don't have as much access to the groceries and supplies that they need. So they wanted to help their community. Okay, so this is that's how you would fill out the organizer. You don't even have to write complete sentences. Look, I just wrote like little notes. Okay, so for now, that's all that we need to do with this organizer. So when you finish filling out the organizer, the only other thing that you have to do today is to go and answer those comprehension questions for this article or for this news story, okay? Make sure that you are answering incomplete sentences and that you are restating the question, and that you try it on your own completely first before you look at any of the answer keys, okay? That's how you know whether you're understanding it or not, or if you need to practice more or not, or what kind of corrections you need to make, okay? All right, I miss you guys. I'll see you later.